Welcome back to another video, buddy. I am Coleman, and today we're going to be talking about mental health. So if you're here for Minecraft, you can piss off, mate. You can piss off. I'm just kidding. You could stay. But ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about mental health. We're going deep. We're diving deep. We're getting emotional. So if you're new here, it's what we do. We do motivational talks on Minecraft while we play Minecraft. So if you like that, if you need that in your life right now, if you're going through something, stick around, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around. So first things first, I just want to say thank you for the birthday wishes for my wife, Katie. She loves you. She said thank you. And she said, I appreciate you. So now, secondly, flower farms working. We'll decorate that next time. But the main thing we're going to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen, the main thing is the stigma around mental health. There are so many like weird stigmas around mental health. It's gotten a lot better. But a lot of people still are afraid to talk about mental health and express their mental health and really just talk about mental health. There's a study that says one in every five people have experienced some sort of mental illness, kind of like, span of their life. And that's alarming, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely alarming. And so today, we're going to start with a little exercise. So this is the stigma around mental health. So let's say I got this from Dr. Jeffrey Lieberman. He did a TED Talk about mental health. So if you want to look it up, just type in Dr. Jeffrey Lieberman talks about mental health. So he did an exercise, right? Let's say you have a massive presentation at work that day. And you have to choose a reason to call out. Right, you're not feeling well that day. You have to choose a reason to call out. Which one would you choose? Would you choose an anxiety attack? Would you choose a headache? Would you choose a fever? Like, hey man, I got a fever. Or would you say, hey man, I got depression? Or would you say, hey, I got a sinus infection, I can't come in today? Or would you say, hey, I'm feeling suicidal today? 99% of you, I guarantee, would choose this right here. You would choose the top column because these are natural, physical things that happen all the time and people won't judge you for. But I guarantee at least 20% of you, one in every five, goes through some of these some days at work and you want to call out and you use these excuses. And so that's the stigma I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. That's the stigma of the mental health and all that right there. Is you would rather choose these than choose these down here because you're afraid your boss is going to judge you. You're afraid your peers are going to judge you. And this used to be so much worse. Let's say even 5 years ago, those situations, these right here, people would fake having headaches, fevers, sinus infections. They would literally fake putting a thermometer like in hot water just to show like 103 degrees temperature, just so they could say they have a fever instead of an anxiety attack that morning. Or they're having like suicidal ideations. I've seen it, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen it. And so many people in my life have gone through like depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations, and I've seen the links that people go through to hide it, and it's alarming. And this was like five years ago. It happened yesterday. It happened 30 days ago. It happens so much. And so that's what I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, today is how do we break this? How do we break this stigma? And it starts with you. It starts with you not making it a big deal. If you take the power away from these illnesses right here, then so will your bosses, then so will your friends. If this becomes a normal talking point, like an everyday social topic, just like these are, then that's how we break the stigma. And then when one of your workers, one of your employees comes to you and says, boss, I'm going through it, dude. My brain is killing me. It's getting the best of me. I'm having a severe anxiety attack, a severe panic attack. You could say, okay, do you need help from me? Do you need something from me? How do you usually get through this? And this is what I want to talk about too, is every single one of these down here, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, every single person is different in how they handle it. Me, with my anxiety, anything I'm anxious about, I just do it. And then I check it off the box, it goes away. Some people, it doesn't happen like that. Some people need deep breathing exercises. Some people need to just go to sleep, to calm their brain down. Some people need medication. So it is up to you as leaders, as you as followers, as you as just a everyday human being is to find out who's going through something in your work, who's going through something as your friends, and figure out what are their remedies to all of these right here. What are these? So Katie, so I have anxiety, Katie has depression. We have like a nice combination of the two, like double whammy, bow, right? Mine is I accomplish my task, anxiety goes away. Katie's is depression. So Katie goes through it. And her thing is to cure her, to slightly cure hers for the moment of time, for the time being. She has to keep her brain busy. That's her thing. Whether it's doing schoolwork, whether it's working out, whether it's just diving deep into TikToks and just mindlessly and numbnessly, whatever that word is, going through and just not thinking and just cramming her TikToks in her brain, or just doing something to keep her brain busy. That's how she deals with it. And then this right here, this is the number one thing, ladies and gentlemen. In the Air Force, we do so much training for suicidal ideation, for suicidal people, for any sort of suicidal thoughts. And the best thing you can do is just shut the F up and listen and stay by their side and just provide the help they need. All caps, they. I don't care what you want to do. I don't care how you feel about it. It's what they need. Does this happen often? Is this your first time? Are you thinking about harming yourself? Are you thinking about harming others? And if the answer is yes to harming yourself and harming others, you stay by their side. You stay by their side and you walk them, you coax them in to getting help. Either if it's from a psychiatrist, a family member, a friend, an EMT, a healthcare provider, a chaplain, any sort of like medical entity, spiritual entity that can help them. That is your goal, is to just coax them in and let the experts handle those situations. They go to school for multiple different, suicidal ideations. They go to school to help people who have this suicidal. But your goal is to not leave them alone. That is your whole goal, is to not leave those people alone. Because if something happens to them, guess what? It's up to you. It's on you. And a lot of people are afraid to say that, but if something happens to them, it's on you. You don't leave them alone. I don't care what they say. If they have the courage and the guts to come up to you and say, hey, I'm thinking about harming myself, or hey, I'm having suicidal ideations, that is their cry for help. They are literally saying, hey, Coleman, help me. Stay by my side. Sit here and listen to me. No one just says that to a human being just to say it. That is their cry for help. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you come up to somebody with suicidal ideation, it is your job to hold their hand, to hug them, to walk them through the situation, and to take them into the higher echelon of care, right? And so we need to break the stigma. By breaking the stigma, these people stop suffering and they come to talk to people. and then they get the help they deserve. In the Air Force, there's far too, I don't even want y'all to look up the number. There's an excessive amount of suicides in the Air Force, in the military in general. And it's because of people not reaching out for help because they're afraid of how people will judge them. They're afraid of the repercussions, the ramifications. If you are a leader, a manager, a business person, an entrepreneur, and you punish people for some of these mental disorders, you are wrong. You are 1,000% wrong. Would you punish someone for having a heart attack? The answer is no. And so we need to treat all of these mental illnesses and treat them the exact same as a physical illness. If someone has a headache, what do? You let them lay down, You maybe put ice on their forehead. You give them something to drink. You sit there with them. You're like, dude, you okay? Guess what? You do the same thing for anxiety. You calm them down. You give them something to drink. You let them hang out. When someone has a fever, you don't leave them alone. You get them the proper, food, water, medication, whatever they need. You check their temperature. You do all this, right? You do the same thing for depression. You figure out what they need, you give it to them, and you make it happen. And then, with a sinus infection, this just takes care and tender and love and all the things that you would do for to take care of somebody who's just going through it, right? All the sinuses are clogged up, leads to headaches, leads to all this other stuff. You do the same thing for suicidal ideations. You ain't going to leave someone alone who has a sinus infection, whose face is just pounding. You go, hey, man, what do you need? Are you okay? Do you need more help? Guess what? You do the same daggum thing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to break the stigma. One YouTube video at a time, one person at a time, one group at a time, one leader at a time. We are going to break the stigma of this mental health nonsense. Oh, we don't talk about mental health. I openly talk about mental health. I openly talk about my anxiety. I openly talk about being on medication. To my people below me, I don't have to do that. But guess what? 1 of 3 of them are on depression medication. They're like, oh, I didn't know LT. Pretty confident dude. Good speaker, good hard work. I'm like, yeah. Because I got the help I needed. And this just helps people get the help they need. When a cool guy or gal who's pretty well respected around his community is getting the help they need, then that helps people break the stigma and get the help that they need. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a short video, but I needed to talk about it. I watched this TED Talk. Again, it's Dr. Jeffrey Lieberman TED Talk. It's 22 minutes long. Watch it. And you'll see kind of the stigma of mental health and how we can change it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going through something, put it in the comments below. Let's be open with our mental health. And let's let other people come to help us. Or say, maybe I have anxiety too. Or I have depression too. Let's have one big kumbaya. And let's make this happen, ladies and gentlemen. So stay beautiful. Stay smiling. Peace.